Hey guys, Kaiser Dragon here, and welcome to the first episode of Transcendent Wings. This series is going to be a video diary of sorts, sort of a vlog series in which I come on here and just talk about, share my life experiences with you guys, in the hopes that maybe, with what I've been through, may be able to help you with what you may be going through, some of the issues you may be facing. And that's hopefully that's really what I want to do is that if I can help out someone else that's going through difficult times, and if I've been there, and maybe if, what I've got to say could be of use to someone who's watching, then that'd be great. That's all I could really ask for. So with that, let's get started. We'll jump straight in. Regrets in life. There has been a lot of things that I've regretted in my life, like with anybody else, and I've done, a lot of things that are questionable. Sometimes I've done things that are just downright confusing, just plain stupid. But the one thing I would say I regret the most was probably uh, when I got dropped out. When I dropped out of high school was probably the one I regretted the most, and I only had really myself to blame for it. It was really my own fault, and looking back at it now, I really wish I'd stayed. I stuck with school. It was all it really boiled down to was me just being a complete troublemaker. I'll be the first to admit I was never a model student at any school I went to. I was absolutely terrible, and looking back, and I'm pretty much paying for it now in later life. But yeah, cause looking back on it now, I didn't come away with anything in school. I dropped out at a critical time when I was getting ready to take GCSEs and exams, and because I dropped out, I never got to take them. So, and I don't really have anything to my name. So I'm really paying for it now. But back then I was just pretty much just like people sort of described me as nothing more than a thug. So you just go around causing trouble and getting into fights, and they're not far off from the truth. But yeah, if I would really should have knuckled down a bit better and really try to ground myself into studying, and trying to think of leading a better life for me in the future, because by the time I decided what I wanted to do, which was I wanted to do acting. I wanted to do performing arts. But by the time I realized what I wanted to do, it came down from because um, I'd gone into a drama lesson for the first time because I just thought it sounded interesting. I thought I'd give it a shot, and by the time I finished, it just really hit me. So this is really good. I'm really intrigued by this lesson. It was one of the first times in a long time in school where I actually wanted to do it. I actually wanted to partake in the class. Because up until then, any other lessons were like, I don't know, with history and geography, I just can't care less because it's just not interesting to me. And a lot of people have that. A lot of people always have that one lesson they find that they can relate to. They want to knuckle down and really do it and really get involved. But by the time that came about, as I just started it, and that was when I ended up getting expelled from school, and it was again my own fault. They're just getting into another fight with another one of the students, which I really did not get along with at the time. Nowadays, since patched things up because again, it wasn't his fault. Not entirely. I mean, he did have a small part in it, but it was mostly mine. Um, So if I was to make any sort of suggestion, it would be, uh, you know, for those, if you feel like you are causing trouble at school, you are going to regret it in later life. Anybody will tell you that. Your parents will tell you that. If you play out, you drop out of school, and it's gonna be, you're gonna have a really difficult time getting anywhere with with a job and a career, with a future, just anything. I know that you read about it, and like there's people who have made successes for themselves by dropping out of school, but I can probably uh, almost guarantee you that they had it difficult. It was a difficult scenario where they had an idea of what they wanted to do, but they just think maybe it probably had taken a big risk of thinking, is this going to work? Because if it doesn't, what am I supposed to do? And that's pretty much that's pretty much the boat I'm in. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life at this point, even though um, I'm 26 now, and I still don't know what I want to do. I mean, while I do know what I want to do, it's just what I would like to, sorry, let me rephrase that. I do know what I want to do, but it's not a realistic goal. I want to do. I wanted to continue doing acting. I wanted to, get invested in performing arts because it's something I felt I enjoyed, and it's like something I was potentially good at. But realistically, that's not going to happen. So all I'm trying to do is just trying to think of where do I go from here, and that's really where I want to. That's where I'm coming from. Is you've got the chance to make your decision in school. You really should take it there because you don't really get a second chance at this. Once you've crossed that line, you won't get another chance. You got to take that chance whilst you're there. And if you miss that opportunity, it's going to be really difficult to try to get it back. So yeah, my advice to you would be is, if you feel like you don't want to do your studies, and or you think school is a waste of time, which every teenager goes through that at some point. They think, oh, school's a lot of crap, and what's the point? But believe me, if you stick with it, you will find something you want to do. They will, because there are people there that will help you get through school and help you decide where you want to go. Sometimes not very well, but there will be someone there who can give you a direction in life and where you want to end up. So that would be my advice: is just really stick to it, stick to study, and then just see and then just see it out. 'Cause at that point, when you're in school, you're very young. You don't want to rush into life all guns blazing, because then if you go in there all guns blazing, you're probably just gonna get shot yourself, if that makes sense. Yeah, just stick with it, and just in time it'll all come to you. You will get what you're looking for. So yeah, just ride it out. How people change over the years, I've noticed so many people I used to know in my life have completely turned out to be very completely different people, and it's nothing new. It's nothing um, unexpected, because change is something everyone has to go through. It happens to all of us, and it's something we can't. It's a part of life you cannot avoid. The trick of it is that change can be good, and it can also be a bad thing, depending on how you look at it, and depending on how said person or said scenarios change. How they evolve, how they adapt. with me, I find a lot of the people that I used to know back in school, people, even people that I used to get along with, who I consider friends. Um, Even then, you look at them 10 years later, you just question, how are you like this? Why have you become such a complete dickhead? You do wonder why they do it for. I mean, I've had it where, you know, they were my best friend, a good friend, one day, and then you walk past them on the street, you try to say, oh, hello there, it's been ages, uh, since I've seen you, how you been? And they won't even acknowledge you. They just walk past you. They're always like this with this blank stare on their face, thinking, who the fuck are you? You know, am I supposed to know? I'm just wondering, is there really any need for that? No, there isn't. You don't want to come off, because that just makes you come off as just arrogant, just an arrogant twat. And why would you want to have other people perceive you as that? It doesn't make sense. But it's sadly, one of those things that happens. We can't avoid it. But then you get people who do change for the better. They change and they end up becoming a better person because of it. So it really all goes down to how you know, how they grow up. How they get through life and how they handle the struggles that they go through. But then on the flip side, you get people who don't change at all, if very little perhaps, which again can be a good and a bad thing. Sometimes they were really great to begin with, and they haven't changed all that much, and they're still great now. And then you get people who are complete, bloody table, all in the way, and they get them when they were just twats from the beginning, and they don't change at all. If anything, they probably end up getting worse. You do to question if that's even possible, but yeah, change is something one really cannot predict, and it's something again we gotta go through it. But my advice on dealing with change is it's a difficult one because there's different ways to handle it. But if I was to give one piece of advice that would try to deal with it in most ways, it would probably be, it's always prepare to expect the unexpected. Always when you see someone that you haven't seen for a long time, always prepared to expect them to be very different to how you remember them. At least that way, it wouldn't surprise you as much. If you got someone there who was a great friend to you, I don't know, 10 odd years ago, you see them now for the first time since then, and but if you were going in there expecting them to be, maybe a bit snobbish, or maybe not as friendly towards you as you once remember, and they do come off that way, it probably wouldn't bother you as much because you saw it coming. And if they are, just as good as you remember them, then they've I guess they've somewhat beaten your low expectations of them going in, and it's that type of people, that kind of person that you want to be around with. If you go in and then expecting them to be, just someone you don't want to get along with, and they end up being the opposite of that, that's a good sign that that's the type of person you want to socialize with, you want to be around. Someone who can help reassure you that they are your friend, and they're gonna stick by you. So that's definitely worth noting. So try to remember that it's always prepared. Be prepared to expect the unexpected with people, and that'll probably be the best way to help deal with someone who's you haven't seen before, and it's the best way to counter. I wouldn't say counter, but to handle change with people. As with regards to changing with other scenarios, with like other environments, that's you could probably say the same thing. You know, always prepare for the unexpected. You know, maybe if you're going like to a new job, or maybe if you're going off to university or somewhere like that, go in there expecting the unexpected to happen, and then, but you don't want to go. So I'm sort of confusing myself here, but I'm trying to get it across. You know, if you going in there expecting the unexpected, you don't want the unexpected to happen. Deep down, you don't want that to happen. But if you are prepared for that, it will not surprise you as much, and maybe it won't hurt it'll hurt less. But it'll still hurt you knowing that this coming off the way you don't want it to, but it won't hurt as badly, and that's really all you can do with change is try to reduce any sort of pain that comes to you with that to a minimum. But yeah, just take the same approach to different places like workplaces and such, and for the most part, it won't be anything like you envision it. It won't be as bad as you expect it to be going in. But again, if it does turn out that way, you'll be prepared for it. You'll be ready for it, and it probably wouldn't, and it won't bother you as much. So just remember that. Just always go in ready for what happens. You're ready for anything that could happen, because it can happen, and it most likely will happen. That's something you don't want to happen is going to happen. So that's all you can do is just go in there preparing for the unexpected. And that's probably the best advice I can give you. There's probably better people out there who can give you better advice than that, but I find helps the most. So just try to go with that and see what happens. And so that's for now. I think we'll end it there for the first episode. And if you enjoy what you see, just give us a thumbs up and let me know if in the comments if this has been of any help to you. And hopefully it has. And depending on and I might come up and I'll probably, I don't know how often I'll do this series, but probably every once in a while I'll come on here and record another episode of this, because it's very therapeutic. It really does help. It's almost like a form of therapy. This is just going on here and talking about what the stuff you've gone through and helping with others in hopes that somebody else could use it for their own, as another form of advice. So it really does help. So I'll hopefully see you again soon. Take care.